Welcome to the Choose to Change Mentoring Program, the 90-day reentry program. If you're a visitor or new to this program, we welcome you and we are glad you are here. Many of us walked into these rooms not sure of what to expect, but many of us stayed because we saw real people like Eduardo with real problems who had real hope, and Hugo and everyone here. We all had problems, not just Eduardo. This 90-day reentry program is a self-supporting group sponsored by the Choose to Change Foundation. There are no dues or fees to attend a class, but we do encourage donations from our members and anyone who believes in what we do. The only requirement for membership is a sincere desire to change. So if you are ready to change your life, then you are in the right place. Through this program, you will learn the tools and resources to finally change your life forever and a relationship-based group support system to keep you going. For many of us, there is no easy way out of the mess we created in our lives, even if it wasn't your fault. But the good news is that there is a way out. If you will choose to believe in the impossible, my name is Frank Salazar. It's a pleasure to be up here. It's been it's been quite a week last week, and it's finally starting to slow down. But it's been a good week. And without further ado, we're going to have a great lesson from our mentor, Orlando Salinas, tonight. So let's welcome him to the podium.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank.
The mic.
Right. So far, I see people are tired. Tired. You tired, Chavarria? Yes, so man, Chavarria. I gotta admit it. Chavarria goes and goes and goes. Welcome, guys. I want to talk about lifestyle today, which is the sixth key to the process of change. So I'll get into that in a minute, but I just drove in from Houston. I went to the Gib Lewis unit, and about 200 men. They said that usually they have like 120, 150. We had 200 because they knew I was coming. Because what I do is I send posters and we do a dead man presentation. Me and my wife went into the prison, so they already knew we were coming. And so then we packed the house. I'm famous in prison, I guess. At least I'm famous somewhere, right? In my own mind. But it's awesome, man, because I get to see it from the inside and I get to see it from the outside. And what I try to do is piece it together for you. That's what I'm trying to do. This process, this idea of going from failure to success, this idea from going to, being where you're at before, being a loser, let's say, to being a winner. This idea of being able to never ever having never been able to see that your life can change, to be able to see that maybe there is a chance. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to connect the pieces for people. And it's hard to see. Because those of you that just got out of prison, maybe you can still remember, But with time, guys, you're going to forget. I'm telling you, you're going to forget. Because how many ever said, man, I'm never coming back here again when you were in prison? I'm never coming back. And how many of you went more than twice? Because we forget. We forget those emotions. We forget that the loneliness. We forget that depression. We forget. And why? Because we come out here and we're overwhelmed by that same emotion, same depression, same hopelessness. And of course, that's why we need God. We need Him in the center of this whole thing. Otherwise, we won't make it. A guy last night in the prison came up to me and he said, man, Orlando, thank you for coming. I don't know who you are, but looks like you made it. So what advice can you give me? I've been locked up like 30 years. Mhm. How can a man like me, he was like 60 years old? He said, been locked up half my life, in and out of prison. But I do want to change. What advice would you give me? What do I look forward to? What is it? Or no, his question was, can a man like me change? That's what his question was. And I looked at him and I said, do you want to hear the truth? Or do you want me to pat you on the back a little bit? He said, no, 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 tell me the truth. I said, well, it's very difficult. It's going to be very difficult for a man like you to change your life. That's the bad news. The good news is that it's possible. See, but what I'm trying to help him understand, and I think he got it, is that if you think that many of us, and I think Leroy or even you, Roland, or anybody here that's been to prison, we messed up our lives, right? Even if it wasn't your fault, but our lives were messed up. And then we get to a point where we're ready to change. I'm telling you, you're not going to just get up and everything's going to be okay. No, no, no. It doesn't work that way, right? You're walking away from your gang. You're walking away from your vida loca. You're walking away from your craziness. You're walking away from it. But that's all you ever known. You with me? So it's not going to be that easy. And that's what I'm trying to get through to people. Even if you've never been in prison, right? But your lifestyle and your mindset, your attitudes, they keep you in bondage. And that's what's so powerful about being a Christian, committing your life to Christ, because God, Jesus Christ, offers us something that most people can't achieve without him. That, in fact, nobody can. And so Choose a Change was born. So, and I'm trying to help you understand these things. When I say life change, success, and overcoming in life is a process. When I say that, I really mean it. It's a process. And it's a process where you're going to be tired. It's a process where you're going to want to quit. It's a process where you're going to want to give up. It's a process where you're going to make mistakes. You're going to need a crying shoulder. Or you're going to need somebody to just, regañarte. But it's a process. It's real. You're going to have to cry yourself to sleep maybe sometimes. Cry out to God. Even you, Jesse, you tell me, it's kind of hard, but you want it. And that's what makes it so powerful, brother. That's why I start with desire. Isn't that what I always start with? Desire. Because if you want it bad enough, brother, that's what breaks through the barriers of loneliness and depression and hopelessness, and that's what breaks through. That faith. So I told that man, I said, but let me tell you what you're going to have to do. Because I can't give you everything in a few seconds here. But if you really want me to just tell you exactly what you need to do, here's what you need to do. You need to give your life to Jesus Christ and surrender to him and start serving him and start serving yourself. That's the bottom line. Because as long as you're serving yourself, you're not going to go anywhere. Well, you'll go somewhere. So it was an exciting time. I'm going to be back at that unit in July. I'm going to go do a reentry program, teach them all this process of change, 6-hour seminar. I'll be back over there in July. And then in July also, I'm going to Ferguson unit. Ferguson unit is where I started my career in 1982. which means that when I go to that prison, it, it'll be 40 years since I was in that prison. 40 years, man. I feel old. 17 years old. I want to help men change their lives. Make it real to you. That's it. So what I want to talk about tonight is, by the way, thank you for watching. If you're watching us online, I just got right into it, right? Thank you for being here, guys. We're at the end of the process of change. The last two of the process of change is results, lifestyle, and results. Now, there's 7 parts to the process of change, but let me just put a plug in here to remind you guys, it's not the only things that you have to work on. And that's the only things you need to learn. The reason I broke it down into 7 is because those are just keys, ingredients, but that you're going to have to build on. You with me? And something to get you started with. And that if you just work on these 7, then your life is going to get better. The 6th key that I have is called lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle do you live? And the next question would be, is your lifestyle that you're presently living taking you to where you want to go? Because if you were like me, we just lived like for the day. We never cared about tomorrow. We just, whatever happened, No. In order to change your life and have some kind of success in life, you have to start thinking about tomorrow and living a certain way in order to get there, right? So let me give you an example. I'll give you a prison example. In prison, they give us levels, right? I'm an S2, I'm an S3, or I forget what it was. But in order to get parole, we need to stay out of trouble, right? And we have to take these classes. And so I remember saying, I already took this class, I already took this class, I already did this. And now I'm S2. So I'm getting there because I'm looking forward to what? Parole. So out here, we're looking forward to a better life. Right? I like the way I put my little monitos. Yay. Achua está torcido ese. But over here, estamos triste y abandonado. But guess what, brother? You can be like that, but just tired, just like you are now. But you're over here. You're coming over here. You see what I'm saying? These emotions and these feelings, they pass. We gotta break through them. I'm super tired right now. Well, I'm excited. I was excited to come here. So I want to talk about lifestyle, which is the lifestyle. You're living the lifestyle you need to do. You're here, man. You're here. Going to another class. Hey, virtue of the change. It's just part of. It's just a part. It's just a phase. But let me talk about lifestyle for a minute as we get into this. What really matters in life is the question of today. What really matters in life? In Ecclesiastes 12, 13 to 14, listen to what the greatest, smartest man that ever lived said. Solomon. The wisest man that ever lived. Listen to what he said at the end of his life. And he did everything, good and bad. And here's what he said at the end of his life. And it's in Ecclesiastes 12, 13, and 14. The preacher said, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. When he was looking back in life and everything he's done, everything that happened, God, failure, success, everything. And here's what he's saying as he's looking back. He says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. He says, fear God. Keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. In other words, what he's saying is that's all that really matters. Believing in God, trusting in God, having God in your life, and doing what he says. That's what he's saying. Doing what's right. That's it. And then he says, for God, he understood this thing, will bring every work, everything that you do, into judgment. And every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be bad. And that's the whole conclusion of the matter, he says. See, God sees us. God knows us. And really, if we reject him, then that's just not good. So that's what I want to talk about today. What really matters? I did a research. You can research this. What do you think most people want in life? You can Google it, and you'll get, if you Google top 10 things that people want in life, and you'll get several things. But here's what a few things, the ones that you always get, at least the top 5 that you'll always get in these lists that the world says, what do most people want? Happiness, joy, peace, money, freedom. These are the things that people want. And in almost every list of 10, there might be only 1 or 2 things that are physical. In other words, cars and money and houses. In other words, most people in life really don't want physical things. They want them. But the most important things that they want cannot be achieved, cannot be bought. Like freedom, happiness, joy. That can't be bought. This article went on to say that people struggle to find this. And that's why people are confused in life. And I'm talking about, this is the world's studies. They know this. People are always trying to find happiness and joy and peace. So what do? They get into drugs and alcohol and pornography. And they think fame and fortune, that's going to give them something, right? And what do? We fall right into it when we're young, right? But here's what the world says. I'm going to give you 3 things that the world says to do in order to find happiness. Let's talk about happiness and freedom and joy. How about that? Can we talk about that for a minute? Because that's what I want. I get to my house, I'm tired. But guess what? I have a place to stay. Yeah. You just got a place to stay, brother? Brother just got a place to stay, man. Got his first apartment. Yeah. Hey, that's awesome. He's climbing. He was homeless. And that's what I tell people, man, I get excited just thinking about this. I tell people we're in a hole, man. We're in a hole. And that's where he was. He's in a hole. Triste así, bien feo. And he's climbing out. He's climbing. Because I tell people, you're here. I'm not talking about when you were in prison. You're in there now. And you have to climb yourself out. I can help you. I can give you a hand, but you have to do it yourself. So anyway, congratulations, brother. So the world says, here's what they say: follow your heart. Follow your heart. That's what this world tells you to do in order to find happiness and joy and freedom. People want to be free, right? They have no idea how to be free. Follow your heart. You know what the Bible says about following your heart or about the heart? That is deceitful above all things. Who can know it? That if you follow your heart, you're going in the wrong direction. But I love him. Oh, I love her. Yeah, we have to be careful. We have to be careful. When people tell you follow your heart, I mean, they're actually trying to help you, and they think they are, but don't follow your heart, man. I'm telling you, it doesn't work. There's 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 some balance here in terms of doing what you want to do, follow your passions. There's some balance, but you got to be careful because uh, our heart, we're lustful. What we want is something that'll satisfy our flesh immediately. If we don't think about it, as you mature in life, this happens to us all when we're young. But we start maturing in life, we start realizing that things that were important when we were 15 are not as important when we're 30. But we don't see that when we're 15, right? So you have to be careful. Jesus says, follow me. The word of God says, follow this. This is what will get you joy and happiness. This is what will get you what you're really looking for. Here's another one that this world tells you to do. Live your truth. That's how you'll find happiness. Be true to yourself. Who's ever heard that? Listen to this little this article I was reading. It says, more often than not, we're swarmed with messages about authenticity. Who can help me with that? Authenticity. Authenticity. How do you say, brother? There you go. Man, I need you guys. We are told to be the most truthful version of ourselves. Be true to yourself, they say. Might be a phrase that is far too familiar to you. Whether it be through social media, conversations with loved ones, self-help books, catching someone else's conversation on a busy train, we all seem to be inundated with the same message. But listen to what this article said. Despite this message reaching us in our daily lives, very few of us really know what it actually means to be true to ourselves. We take it and run with it like, man, I'm just, nobody can tell me nothing. I can do whatever I want to do. We live in America, right? We're free. Be true to yourself. Listen to what Jesus said about yourself. He says, deny yourself. See, and these things contradict themselves and we don't understand them. You have to figure them out. That's why we come to church. That's why we read our Bibles. And you start realizing that Jesus is trying to get you somewhere where you'll be happy, successful, not depressed and lonely and hopeless. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. It's powerful stuff, man. When I start putting, I've been studying the Bible. I've been a Christian for years. Now over 40 years. For a long while was a bad one, right? But still, backslidden. So I can figure it out, right? That's why you know now. That's why we're so committed, because we know the truth. Here's the last one. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. How many know that's just a lie? That's a lie, man. That doesn't even, that's not true. I, I remember, do we have any drug addicts in here? I remember doing drugs and saying, I love using drugs. This makes me happy. I'm never going to stop. I used to say that, Chavaria. Because that's all that mattered. Making me happy. So y'all getting this? This is not how this stuff works, man. We have to change. This is why I talk about this stuff. We have to change our mentality, the way we think, the way we see things, our attitudes, our habits. They have to be changed so that we can start producing results, different results. Jesus said in Mark 8:36 and 37, he said, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? It's the powerful stuff. So let's close with what really matters. What really matters. Listen to this article. Does anybody have any questions? Is anything I'm saying making any sense? Any questions? Comments? Nothing. Go ahead. You want to comment something? You always have something to say.
Always. It's just everything you say is kind of like something where I could just like that. How do you say it? Where you could break it down, right? Like you say that there's follow your to be happy and right and
Follow your heart.
yeah, follow your heart and but deny yourself, right? At the same time, well, you kind of question that, right? Because you gotta live in between that.
Yeah, there's a balance.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also, where I think about it is like people question that because you compare yourself to others like Solomon, like oh he had everything you could say, but what about me? I have it hard. Like you got to be grateful and set your in your mind like what is your purpose and like living for God. You start seeing things differently, and I noticed right regardless of how hard your struggles are.
Yeah.
And like what I do personally is I just continue like pressing into God's word, and like I've been reading the Book of Job, and the Book of Job he says where he's going through hard times, but in the end, like his purpose was to follow God regardless of how hard things were, and in the end, God blessed him.
Yeah. Yep.
More than in the beginning.
That's how it'll work for all of us. In the end. Now I don't know what end. For Job, he got to see it. Right? I don't know what end you're going to be able to see, but there is a good end for us if you persevere to the end. There is a good end. The alternative is not something I want to consider. In fact, listen to this next article. He says, what really matters in life? Listen to this article, part of it. We live in a world packed with material possessions and are encouraged to chase these things. As a result, our needs never seem to stop growing. It's because Did you know that the more you have, what? The more you want. And if you don't take control of that, you definitely never be happy. Listen to this. So we keep running for more and more and more. But what really matters here, he says, we run after bigger television sets, newer smartphones, a better car. We run after job promotions, luxury holidays. We tend to think that more money in our account will translate into being happier. Well, online or offline shopping can bring us short-term satisfaction, and it does. I remember when I went and bought some shoes, walked into the store, walked out with 3 pairs. Hey, but I don't do that all the time. But it feels good though. It's going to feel good when you're going to walk into a store and you buy what you want, brother. It's going to feel good. But in the meantime, there's thrift store, right? My wife still shops in thrift store. I love the way she shops. We went to a thrift store yesterday. It rarely matters in the long run, though. There are all examples of things that don't matter in the end. Cars and money didn't matter. Well then, what really matters in life? This article shows you what matters in life and how to find the things that really matter. Listen to this. He says, the wise, la gente sabia, people that are wise, do not chase after materialistic things. They have them, they enjoy them, but they don't chase after them. Wise men. More clothes, smarter gadgets, bigger cars, luxury houses can make our lives more convenient. It's true, right? But those things don't bring us long-term happiness, which is what I want to talk about today. Happiness and freedom. Because that's part of our goal, right? To have happiness and freedom. I'm going somewhere here, guys. What really matters in life is happiness itself, he says. Being content. Getting home tonight, brother, and being so tired, I said, man, thank you, Jesus, man, that I have a place to stay. Got a job tomorrow. I got friends I can call. I got people that actually care about me. My children are safe, at least for now. I'm going to be a father to my children one day that they're going to need when they grow up. And they're going to know that I was there. See, you see how that works? That's how you live, brother. Live happy right now, knowing that there's going to be a better tomorrow. He says, happiness comes from having a purpose in life. Loving, caring, accepting others. And I like this one. He added, and maintaining your health. So there you go, guys. Take care of your health, man. I'm telling you, take care of your health. Without these, your purpose, loving, caring for others, maintaining your health, without these, you will always end up feeling unfulfilled and unhappy. And I'm using happiness and freedom, guys, because it's just one of the top 10 things that people want in life, or a couple of top 10. But listen to this research. I want you to listen to this research as we close. I'm closing, I promise. He says, research on the impact of relationships. So you say, well, what does that have to do with happiness and success? Well, let's find out. Relationships. You know what relationships are, brother? It's like me and you. We have a relationship. We're friends. We're brothers. We have a relationship. We have a relationship, right? We started a relationship. That's what we have a relationship with our girlfriend, with a boyfriend. We have a relationship with our pastor. We have a relationship with people at church. Y'all get this? This is what I'm talking about. Relationships. What do they matter? Because if you were like me and they want to hang with nobody else, leave me alone. Just me and my drugs. Or just me and my homies, right? Just you and your. But are relationships that important? Well, let's find out what this study says. Listen, this is powerful. He says an adult development study by Harvard. An adult development study by Harvard University on the lives, listen closely, of more than 700 people was conducted over 75 years. Y'all got that? They followed 700 people for 75 years. That's crazy. But let's see what the results were, because we're trying to figure out what makes people happy. What really matters in life. That's what we're trying to figure out. So let's see what happened. He says the participants, listen closely, were divided into two groups. Two groups. Okay? 1, 2. He says these two groups, one group was were participants who finished college, in other words, had a degree, and the other was participants that were from poor neighborhoods. Okay? So we can say rich and educated and poor and ignorant. Yeah? That good description? In other words, what he's saying is that there's two extremes that they used. In other words, 350 people were rich and educated. 350 people were poor and ignorant. Like I was. Okay? So let's go on. Their personal and professional lives were studied. They were watching them and studying them, as well as their health and their relationships. While most people thought that money and fame make them happier in life, the research showed something very different. It was good relationships that had a more positive impact on life. I want you to get this, man. This is powerful stuff. It's not about having big circles of friends or several relationships. It's about having meaningful relationships. Now, listen, men, what I'm telling you, brother, I had a hard time getting, because we men don't get that sometimes. Relationships. Calmate. We don't get it. Because we're men. We're like, him, right? We don't know how to be a friend. I didn't know how. I'm still, I'm trying to be a friend. You know, I learned that if I'm a friend, I need to care for you. I need to pray for you. I need to not take advantage of you. I need to believe for you. That's a friend. He says it's about having meaningful relationships, quality over quantity. He says it's, in the words of Professor Robert Wagner, the director of the study. Listen to what he said. He said, the clearest message that we got from this 75-year study was this: good relationships keep us happier and healthier. Psychologist George Valiant, one of the earlier research of the study, came to the same conclusion. And here's his words. The key to healthy aging, to getting older. See, when I hear words like that, the key, I listen. Especially when I said, as you're aging, because I'm aging. The key to healthy aging is relationships, relationships, relationships. If I were you, I'd listen to this study, man. What really matters in life? This is why I started doing what I'm doing. I learned this a long time ago. I found out that if I wanted to be successful in life, in other words, be happy, have some kind of joy, have some kind of peace, that it wasn't money that I needed to chase. I needed to chase relationships. Not only in business, because that's what helps my business, but in my personal life. So that's why I serve in my church. That's why I serve here. That's why I give of myself. Right? Because I learned that I can, if you can trust me, brother, and I learn to trust you, that's a powerful relationship. It's powerful, man. Not that kind of relationship where gangs, you have to do something or else, right? It didn't work that way. That's not a good relationship. Relationships, brother, is what really matters in your lifestyle. What does Jesus Christ promise us? Here's what he says. I'll give you hope. I'll give you love. I'll give you peace. I'll give you salvation. I'll give you forgiveness. Eternity. Jesús, cálmate. Restoration. Family. Relationships. See, but if we don't look at it like this, you're going to get lost. You don't get it. People don't get it. They have their little chip on their shoulder and they just put your hand on it, whatever. They don't get it. And here we are just trying to help you a little bit, trying to help you see, wake up. This is why the Bible says that people are blind. They're blind, ciegos. Philippians 4:4. Paul put it like this beautifully. Listen closely. We're talking about relationships and what God offers us. And here's what he offers us. If you have a relationship with Christ, with God, God's people, here's how you do it. He says, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say, rejoice. He says, let your gentleness be made known to all men. The Lord is at hand. The Lord is at hand. And be anxious for nothing. Don't worry about it. I mean, that's hard to do, but we're supposed to be not to worry about things, but in everything we do, through prayer and supplication. That's why we come to prayer. With thanksgiving. It's a huge one. Be grateful. Let your requests be made known to God. And listen to this. And the God of peace, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. And he goes on to say, finally, my brothers, let me tell you how to do this. That's what he's about to tell you now, how to do what he just told you. He's going to tell you how to do it now. Here's how you do it. Whatever things are true, and by the way, I teach all this in this process. Whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of a good report, if there's any virtue, if there's any praiseworthiness, think on these things. He says, the things which you have learned and received and heard and saw in me. This is Paul speaking. Do those things. In other words, he said, I set you an example. Do them. And the God of peace will be with you. Verse 11 says, not that I speak in regards of need. He says, in other words, I'm not telling you because I need things or anything. He says, for I have learned, it's a learning process, that in whatever state I am, whatever state you are, brother, to be content. He says, I know how to be abased and I know how to abound. In everything and in everywhere, I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. And this is where the great verse comes out that we all know. We see it in bathroom walls and in houses hanging. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So, anybody have any questions here? Comments? Relationships? And the relationship that I'm talking about is with each other and with God.
Like, I'm real thankful because like there's no other programs like that's gonna help out people that have our kind of background, and I was just thinking because this is the hand of God moving through people's lives that don't have another way of like understanding. Like there's no other way, you know. If you really want to change, you gotta walk the walk, you know, instead of just talking and then like not walking like that, you know.
Yep.
And because I know for myself, if I wasn't here, I gotta dedicate myself. Like, who am I if I'm not here? I'm the same old person.
Yep.
If I'm not here in the church, and I'm just the same old person, I could easily just like be the same person that I was, and like my mind goes to like doing what I used to want to do.
Yep.
I ain't got nothing else but the people that influence me. I choose to be influenced by people that are gonna be positive impact in my life.
Yep. Yep.
I'm grateful for this program.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. You know, that's part of relationship, being influenced. So after saying all this, in fact, let me pass around our donation bucket. I brought my donation today. And thank you, brothers. Thank you guys for supporting. The little bit that you guys support, it really helps. But know that this, when you give, brothers, you're helping others. You all know that, right? When you give, you help others. That's what this is. Money goes. So if you're watching online and you want to help us, please, you can go to our website, donate.com, donatectc.com. You can buy one of my books online. All that helps. Every little bit helps. So now let me read the conclusion of the whole matter again by Solomon. Listen to the way he started. I read you only 2 verses earlier. Let me give you the context now. Here's what he said, guys, as we close. Ecclesiastes 9 through 12. And moreover, he says, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yes, He gave good heed. He sought out. He set things in order in many proverbs. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words. And that which was written was and that which was written would be upright, even words of truth. The words of the wise are as golds, and as nails fastened by the master of assemblies, good carpenter, which are given from one shepherd. And further, by these, my son, be admonished. In other words, listen to what I'm telling you, man. That's what he's saying. Of making many books, there is no end. And much study is a weariness of the flesh. In other words, coming to choose a change, always learning. It can wear you down. That's what he's saying. He says, but let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Here's what really matters. Fear God. Keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. This is what really matters. The whole duty of man, meaning men and women. For God shall judge, shall bring every work into judgment, whether it be in secret, whether it be good or evil. That's what really matters. Relationship with God and others is what brings true happiness, joy, and freedom. What kind of lifestyle are you living? Is that good? Awesome. And I learned a lot. Anybody have any questions? You sure? Are we good? What time is it? Man, 7:55. Did I talk that long? Man, nunca me callo. Thank you guys for coming, man. We'll see you next week.